I'm Zachary James from Twin Temple. We're here at the Metro in Chicago on the God is Dead tour, promoting our latest record, God is Dead. And I'm going to show you some guitars and some other gear we're using out here. First one we got here is a 1954 reissue Les Paul. It's got the staple pickup, which is unique to this one. This was one of the second Les Pauls that Les Paul designed after the gold top. Yeah, I love that guitar. It's really heavy. It's all standard tuning. All in standard tuning. Medium gauge. These are all Gibson strings. As far as volume and tone controls, I've just got everything dimed on all the guitars, always. Typically, on again, most of the guitars, I'm typically in middle position on the pickups using both the bridge and the neck pickup. On occasion for some solos, like we do a version of the Munsters. I'll flip that in treble because you need all that extra bite. We also have an instrumental of Rumble. Do that. This one will come out later though. This one I've been using for God is Dead actually, the closing number. This is one of my newest additions to the arsenal here. This is a Gretsch Jupiter Thunderbird, designed by Bo Diddley and Gretsch in 1959, based off of the Cadillac and other cars of the time. There were 16 of these made, this penguin finish, and Jack White and Billy Gibbons own 2 of those from this series that were made. So this is one of the other ones. This one is like my main right now, because this is just what I'm loving to play right now. It's chambered too, so it's light. I can kind of throw it around if I want to. So this you'll see me playing most of the show with. I'm just most excited about it. It's got these cool TV Jones pickups here, and again, typically for most of the show, I'm in middle position, using both of them, and everything's just dimed. Everything's dimed. And also, you'll notice a trend that I am obsessed with Bigsby's and just trim arms. So almost every guitar here has a variation on the Bigsby. But yeah, this is definitely my go-to right now. I love this guitar. Well, while we're in the white guitars, let's do this. This is a 61. Technically, this is a Les Paul. It's a reissue, but technically this is a Les Paul because when Gibson first designed the SG, they put Les Paul's name on it, and he hated that. He hated this guitar, so he said, take my name off it. So after 63, it became the SG, the solid guitar, and this was Gibson's attempt to compete with Fender's Stratocaster, because Fender thought they had it all figured out. So Gibson, this was their reaction to that. And this is more of a backup guitar right now. I'm not pulling it out a lot, but I do love it. And this is the triple pickup here, so it's got a really unique sound when you're in the middle position. It's blending these pickups, and it's got a real kind of quacky tone to it, kind of like percussive, and again, kind of like a middle position Strat, because again, they were trying to replicate that kind of Fender sound. This one also has a Vibrola trim arm, and it's got this custom engraving I got on there. This was aftermarket edition, and again, everything dimed all the time. Every guitar is in standard, and again, they're all in like medium gauge, like 10 to 40 something, somewhere in there, and they're all Gibson strings. All Gibson strings. Okay, let's keep going. Some more Gibson worship, I guess. 355. This is a 59 reissue as well. This is again, everything dimed. Middle position most of the time with the pickups. I've always wanted this guitar. You know, Chuck Berry plays a 355 a lot of time. People usually get mistaken. They're like, oh, I love your 335. And it's not a 335. This is a 355 because of the custom finishings. It's got these block pearl inlays, which the 355 does not. Also, I think the binding is different on these, on the custom. And yeah, I love the guitar. It's just a cool classic rock and roll guitar. You know, Keith Richards plays one, obviously B.B. King, all the blues guys. And it's cool. It's semi hollow body. There's a block in here, so it helps with feedback, you know, because if you're playing louder, more rock and stuff, you get a lot of feedback with the jazz box. So they fixed that with this, with the block in the middle. This guitar is it's kind of the backup to the Les Paul right now. So like these two are definitely the more favorite at the moment. But I like traveling with a lot of guitars. I like options. So, you know, sometimes it comes out. If it comes out, it's going to come out for The Devil Didn't Make Me Do It. More kind of 50s style songs. Let's see. Okay. Saving the craziest for last. Dan Electro, double neck. Comes standard as a baritone and a regular guitar, but I have it strung as a bass 6. So instead of in a baritone, the lowest string is B. It's an E. So this is a full octave lower pitch down. This will come out during Burn Your Bible. There's a solo on the record that was done with a baritone guitar, kind of like Grady Martin and Marty Robbins. They kind of were the first pioneers of fuzz. And I really love that tone they get. You know, it's like real raunchy. There was like a broken transistor in their console when they were recording. And they were like, oh, that sounds terrible. Recorded the song, and then everyone in the studio was like, wow, that sounds sick. So then Gibson made the Maestro fuzz pedal, trying to recreate that broken transistor. And so anyways, the song has that kind of fuzz tone, and you just really can't get it without playing it on a bass 6. So this will come out for Burn Your Bible. Play the whole song on this neck over here, on this regular 6-string neck, and then for the solo, bust out the bass 6 with the fuzz. And this is standard, and again, that's an octave down and bass 6. And middle position as well. This one actually I think I've been rocking on bridge. Yeah, solos on the bridge, main guitars, middle position with the lipstick pickups that you gotta love. These are old lipstick containers. Wood bridge, which is how they used to make them, but they're all reissues as well. I have vintage at home. I don't travel with vintage, as I will tell you when we get to amps. Vintage gear gets destroyed and it's irreplaceable. So I bring all reissues. As much as I love them, if they get broken, I can buy another one. Okay, so this here, Twin Reverb 65 reissue from Fender. This is my go-to amp. All the time live, always got a twin. I used to travel with 2. I used to have a mid-60s blackface twin a real vintage that I toured with. And after an arena run, there was a lot of moving that happened, and one day the whole grill just got smashed in. So that was the end of me traveling with vintage gear. I didn't want to risk it anymore. So now I just roll with these reissues from Fender, and I use the second channel here, the vibrato channel. Always got the bright switch up. I don't use the tremolo on this. I'll show you in a bit. When we get to pedals, I use the tremolo in an MXR pedal. But treble's almost dimed on this. Everything else is kind of just mid. Healthy amount of reverb on there. And yeah, it's just, a lot of the time I'm playing just straight into this amp. Most of the tone you hear is just straight guitar into twin. Yeah, it's a great amp. It's a great amp. I mean, it's a classic for a reason, you know. So since I'm not traveling with 2 amps, because I don't do the vintage and the reissue anymore, I just roll with this DI. This is my backup amp. So if something happens and this goes out, I can just, you know, our sound technician will just switch to DI, throw a little reverb on it, and since I'm done playing clean, you know, most of the time, that's all you need. So, you know, obviously it doesn't sound anywhere as good as this, but in a pinch, until someone can fix this, mid-song I can switch to DI. And then I'm wireless, so we can get rid of all the cables. So I'm running this guy, and yeah, just enables me to creep around the stage, you know, and throw picks at people and whatnot. Yeah, so these are all Tortex Dunlop picks I use exclusively. They're all medium. It's like 70 something. But they're all mediums. It's like the orange one they make. These are all made for the tour. They're actually they're a series. They all correspond to the occult elements. Let's see. Here we go. We got fire. We've got air. We've got water, and we've got earth. So those are what I'm throwing out and playing on this tour here. But I always use medium. It's always medium Dunlop Tortex. They're great picks. Great picks. We're in pedal land. So as I said, I don't use a lot of pedals. I go straight into the amp. I keep it old school. But when I do, I'm using these MXR, these Dunlops. This is my tremolo, and they've got this great, really convenient tap tempo thing, so I can change between songs, if I want a real fast trim or I want a slower trim, and that just links to that pedal there, which is great. MXR Dunlop also made this really great Echoplex copy, and I mean, obviously, other than carrying a reel-to-reel Echoplex on the road, this sounds great. It sounds so close to the real thing, so that's really cool to have. And that's coming out on like a Let's Have a Satanic Orgy that comes out in some solos. I do some kind of palm muted like 50s kind of Latin stuff with that as well. So they're all real quick slaps, just real quick slaps. And then for solos, we're doing this MXR Boost line driver, which is it doesn't change the color of the tone at all. Just straight up just gains, just signal boost, because I like the just old school tone of going into the amp. And then we've got this Homebrew Electronics compressor here. This is really great. They're like a homemade pedal company out of Phoenix, Arizona. It's like a husband and wife duo, and they make really great handmade pedals. Lots of compressor just to give the signal a little compression and whatnot. I've got this MXR EQ as well, but at the moment I'm not using it. It's just kind of hanging out, but it'll get some play again. And then, lastly, we've got this fuzz, this unnamed fuzz. This is like an Ennio Morricone Gibson Maestro / Fuzzrite kind of copy. You get some really cool, super buzzsaw, mid-60s fuzz tones with that. That comes out during Burn Your Bible with the Bass 6 that I talked about earlier. And also, we do a cover of Link Wray's Rumble. It's all fuzz guitar. Yeah, so that gets a little bit of play, but mainly I'm just boosting, and I'm using a lot of tremolo and some slap for a couple songs, and that's it. And of course, you got to have the Boss tuner. You know, I've had this for years, just beats of hell. Gotta have that. And as well as being wireless on the guitar, I am also using wireless in-ears. These the JH are really great. We asked them to put a pentagram, and they put a little hexagram. So you know, what are you gonna do? But yeah, these are great. Sounds so good. I forget what model these are right now. One of the ones that were supposed to have a kind of more vintagey tone to them, not a super big bass response and whatnot. So they're kind of more mids, but they're great. I use them every night. I could never go back to using monitor wedges. You know, I mean, those are cool and all, but these sound so good. It's like the mix is like the record in my ears. So that's important to me. I love that. Cool. Well, thanks for joining me here and going through my gear. So we're out here on the God is Dead tour promoting the album God is Dead. You can find that and all tour dates and any other info on twintemple.com.